you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video I am very excited for, but also a little overwhelmed by. Today we're going to be getting into the first part of my eyeshadow palette collection, which is pretty big. Eyeshadow has always been my favorite thing to collect and to play with. I love how creative you can get with it, and I have been collecting eyeshadow palettes for pretty much longer than I've been collecting anything else. So this is going to be a big one, so I'm splitting it into two parts. In the first part, which is this video, we're going to be looking at my drugstore and more affordable palettes, and then in the second video, we'll look at my high-end and luxury palettes. So if you want to take a look at some really great affordable options for eyeshadow, keep on watching. Let's get right into it. And before we get into it, I just wanted to say a quick thank you to all of you for 100 subscribers. It's so crazy. I literally just started this channel at the beginning of the year. It's the end of February and I've already hit 100 subscribers. It means so much to me that each and every one of you would decide to click subscribe and hang around, see more of what I have to say. And I'm so excited to keep doing more content and growing on this platform. I absolutely love it. I'm really getting a lot out of it personally, and I hope you are as well. So thank you so much for being here. To each and every one of you, it means so much to me. And let's get back into the video. So as you can see, I have quite a few of these, so we're gonna jump right into it. We'll start here with this little quad. This is from XX Revolution, and it's in X Exposed. I like this one. I heard from, I want to say Jessica Braun, that this is kind of a dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk quad. I know it's not exact, but the formula is nice. It makes a cute look, and I enjoy it. So for the price difference, I mean, the Charlotte quad is what, $53? I think this one cost me $8, maybe $9. Don't quote me on that. But either way, it's much cheaper, and I still think the formula is really nice. So it's cute. And the packaging is actually really, really nice for what you're paying. These are the LA Girl Keep It Playful palettes. I have them in Downplay, which is my favorite of the two. It's this gorgeous, just neutral tones. This silver is absolutely unbelievable. This one is in Playmate. A little warmer, more pink tones. I like this one a lot as well. I used this in a recent video in my underrated makeup. These are stunning. The mattes are creamy. They blend like butter, and the shimmers pack a huge punch. So these are absolutely incredible. This is my stack of Juvia's Place palettes. This is the Taupes. I love this shade right here. It's this silvery shade with blue glitter in it. Ugh, that barely even does it justice, but look how wet that looks. So gorgeous. This is the Mauves, which I also absolutely love, especially this shade right here. It's this pinky color with a green flip. That is so pretty. There, you can kind of see the pink base and then that flip. I love that. This is the Saharan 2. I think this one is my favorite just because I feel like the shade selection is the most unique. I love these deep mattes down here. They blend so easily, and they're actually really versatile, so it doesn't look like you can do too many looks with this palette, but you really can if you get creative. This is the Nomad. I love this for fall looks. I mean, it's perfect, right? This shade is so shiny and beautiful. I love this. And then this is the Douce, I'm not sure, but I love this color story. It's perfect for spring. I love the addition of this mint green shade. I feel like it just really adds something to this color story, and that's what really drew me in, honestly, was this shade right here. Juvia's Place formula is stunning. Their mattes are buttery. Their shimmers are insanely impactful. This brand is available at Ulta, and I really, really, really recommend them. You really can't go wrong with any of their eyeshadows, to say the least. So good. These are my BH Cosmetics palettes. I have 3 from the Brunch collection, 1 from the Travel collection, and then an older one. So we'll start with the Brunch collection. This is the Mimosa palette. Pink, orange, yellow color story. It's mostly pink. These are so beautiful. I mean, they are so smooth. The shimmers are so glittery. Like, Here, let me just grab one. First of all, they're creamy. Second of all, look at the sparkle. I absolutely love this formula. I have the Blueberry Muffin palette. Absolutely gorgeous. The mattes are beautiful too. This kind of periwinkle blue-purple. Look at that. Blends like absolutely nothing. This is the Avocado Toast palette. This might be my favorite. I'm a real sucker for good greens, and this one really has fantastic formulas. The Travel series is also really good. This is Smitten in Switzerland. I love these muted jewel tones. This like red, the blue, the green, just so stunning. And this I have more for sentimental value. This is Weekend Festival. This was really, really popular back when it came out. I haven't really heard anybody talk about it in probably years, but I keep it around more for sentimental reasons. I don't think this is available anymore, but this was sort of the turning point, I feel like, for BH's formula. I feel like this is when the BH formula went from good to great, and that's how we ended up with like the brunch palettes and the Travel series after it was revamped. So love BH. I know that they're kind of harder to get their hands on now after the whole bankruptcy debacle, but if you can, you should, because their formulas are absolutely fantastic. Next, I have a stack of just some pretty cheap ones. This is from Wet n Wild. This is the Walking on Eggshells quad. If you know, you know. This is a drugstore classic. I'm working on panning this right now, actually, just because I've had it in my collection for so long, and it really is reliable for a day-to-day palette. So simple, basic, maybe boring, but reliable, and I like it. Also from Wet n Wild, I have this. This is one of the newer Color Icon palettes. This is Nude Awakening, which is a revamp of an old one. I like these. I think the formula is really, really nice. I actually like the mattes better than the shimmers. I feel like the mattes are higher quality. The shimmers are fine, but the mattes are really, really beautiful. They blend so easily, and I feel like they're super pigmented, but without being really, really powdery and giving you a lot of fallout. So I really, really like these. I think these are $5, the 10-pan ones. So highly recommend these. This is one from Collab. This was available at Sally's Beauty Supply. This is where I got mine anyway. I don't know if they still are there, but if they are, this formula is really, really solid. Again, I feel like the mattes are stronger than the shimmers, but I just think they have the cutest color stories. I love this one. It's called Tropic Like It's Hot, which is adorable. And I just really love the addition of this mint green shade. I feel like it adds something to what would otherwise be just kind of this really standard, like, summertime coral color story. This just really adds something. I love doing like a coral look with a shimmer and then popping that in the inner corner. It just really amps it up a notch. So these are really lovely. And then I have some e.l.f. palettes. These are my bite-sized quads. I have Pumpkin Pie, which is a great one for fall. Hot Jalapeno, which is my one colorful one because I'm a sucker for good greens. Truffles, which is this fun smokier option. And then my everyday option, which is Cream and Sugar. I'm also working on panning this one. You can kind of see I have some dents in those shimmers going. The shimmers are absolutely incredible in these. Let me show you this. And yes, I was partially taking an excuse to get a dig in there. Look at that. Really beautiful and shiny. And these palettes are $3. Highly, highly recommend these. I mean, if you saw my top 10 under 10, spoiler alert, these make the cut. They are fantastic. So $3, you cannot go wrong. And then I have a couple of these larger ones from e.l.f. This is Retro Paradise. This was a whole collection. I only bothered picking up the palette. I just thought it was fun to have all of these different unique kind of colors. And this duochrome right here, I absolutely love. It's this pinky, corally, orangey base with this green, yellow flip. It's so pretty. Love that one. And then I have more of an internet favorite. This one is Earth and Ocean. I really love the combination of the blues and the greens, the warms and the cools. Really unique color story, and the formula is so easy to work with. All right, we're gonna move on to this pile. These are my Flower Beauty palettes. This one is Jungle Lights. Love these colors. They're so gorgeous and grungy. I want to swatch one. I swatched this one in my underrated favorites video, so if you want to know what that looks like, go check it out. But I'm going to swatch this green. I love this green. This is the shade Anaconda. Look at this quality. Just absolutely gorgeous. That one doesn't really shine the way that some of the lighter shades shine, but it is so rich and smooth and just delicious. This one, Desert Lights. I adore this one as well. Let me see, how can I show this one off? Let me do the gold. I think I might have done this one in the other video as well, but honestly, I don't care. It is stunning. This is the shade Soul. That one you can really, really see just how incredibly shiny they are. Oh my god, I cannot shut up about these palettes. I really can't. They are fantastic. They're a little pricey for the drugstore. I think they're $17 or $18 each, but they are so worth it. Also, these pans are huge, so you're really getting your money's worth out of these. I cannot hype these up enough. Love these. If you're a shimmer junkie, these will be a fantastic addition to your collection, I promise you. Okay, moving on to these. These are my Alter Ego palettes. Alter Ego is a brand that kind of dupes other eyeshadow palettes. All of mine are dupes of Natasha Denona, so we'll start with this one. This is the Goddess palette, which is a dupe for the gold palette, which you can't get anymore, but you can get this one, which is absolutely lovely. The mattes are stunning. They blend like a dream. This right here, this shade Cassandra, this is the dupe for Natasha Denona, the lime chrome shade in the gold palette. Yeah, it really does it for me. It's a thin formula. It isn't a thick, rich kind of shimmer, but I don't mind that. It falls out a little bit more, but you know, for the price difference between a $129 palette and this one for, I think, $16, maybe $18, I'm okay with that. This one is Shadow Kiss. This is a dupe for the Glam palette. I thought about getting the Glam palette, but I went with this one mostly just because I feel like these are shades I probably have. I just kind of wanted them arranged in this way. I know that's so stupid, but I'm a collector. It is what it is, okay? These are beautiful. I really recommend this formula. I feel like it holds up to the formula of the original Glam palette. I tried it because my mom has it, so I can confirm the formula holds up. And then finally, this is the Artemis palette. This is the dupe for the Metropolis palette, which I also don't think is available anymore. You can see it has kind of those cream to powder shades that the Metropolis palette had, and I feel like they did it really well. But yes, I do really recommend Alter Ego's palettes if you love the Natasha Denona color stories, but they're not available anymore, or you don't want to break the bank. Finally, I have another LA Girl palette. This one broke because I dropped it, but this is the Pro Artistry palette. I love this one. Oh my goodness. The color selection is so beautiful, and this silver right here. This made me fall in love with the LA Girl eyeshadow formula. Yes. Look at that. Look at that. Liquid metal. So pretty. I don't know that this particular palette is available anymore, but they do come out with a new sort of iteration of these 16 pan ones every so often. Highly recommend if you see a color story that draws your attention. These are fantastic. Now this is where we really get in the weeds, because all of the rest of these are Colourpop. Yeah, I am aware that my Colourpop collection is, it's a lot. And this is actually the pared down version. I decluttered it not that long ago. So we'll go ahead and get into it. I'll just start over here. This is one of the little quads that they've been doing recently. I have mine in cream soda. I do feel like they vamped up the formula for these, and rightly so. The other ones you get 9 pans for, I want to say, $14. These are 4 pans for $10. So they're definitely pricier, and I think the price increase is justified. The formula is smoother in the mattes, it's creamier in the shimmers, and this makes such an easy everyday look. So highly recommend these if you see a color selection that you think suits you. They also put out some 5 pans, and like I said, I'm a sucker for greens, so I grabbed this one. It is the High Society palette. Really, really beautiful. The greens are so good. Colourpop does everything they do with quality. Do you see how easy that was? Absolutely gorgeous, so pigmented. This is so good for doing more colorful looks. And I think these are $10 full price, so really, really lovely. This is the Child palette. I bought this on launch day because one thing Colourpop knows how to do is put out intellectual property collabs that sucker me in. You'll see a running theme here that I cannot resist their collabs with like shows and movies. So this is the Child palette. I absolutely love this one. Like I said, sucker for greens, and I feel like this one has some really unique ones. Like this center shade, Baby Face. I feel like this is a shade I do not have anywhere else in my collection. It's this really interesting, muted, it's not a mint green, but you can barely see it. But I don't really know how to describe it, but it's absolutely gorgeous, and I love the packaging. Look how cute he is. He is the cutest in the galaxy. So adorable. Let me go a little out of order here because it makes sense. This is the Mandalorian palette. The color story didn't appeal to me quite as much as the other one. However, it's the companion palette for the Child palette, so I had to have it. Because I'm a sucker for the Mandalorian, and you literally just can't have one without the other. They go together. So cute. Love these. I will throw in here that I'm not gonna harp on the Colourpop formula throughout this video because you can kind of just assume that it goes without saying that it is creamy, rich, pigmented. The shimmers are bonkers, glittery, and beautiful. The mattes are super creamy and easy to blend. That goes for all of Colourpop. I don't have to repeat it because you can just assume that it's true. And if it was one of the rare palettes that did not live up to that expectation, it has been decluttered. So all of these meet the Colourpop expectation in my opinion. This is the Baroque palette. So one other thing to know about the Colourpop palettes is that all of the pans are magnetic, so you can remove and replace them with other pans. So this is actually my Baroque palette. I've replaced a couple of the shades that came in the original with my own shades. I didn't really want all of the grays, so I took some of those out and replaced them. I know that I replaced this one. This is a glitter from a different Colourpop palette, and then this is a blue glittery shade from another Colourpop palette. I think those are the only ones I replaced, though. Everything else should be from the original. But I enjoy this. I think it's fun for a grungy, cool-toned look. I really love the monochrome palette series. This is wine and only. Mostly I bought this one because it was wine themed, and yes, it really is that easy to get me to buy from Colourpop. But this color selection is also really, really gorgeous. Super grungy and dark and fun. Something I don't usually go for, but at Colourpop's prices, I feel like it's really, really easy to do something that you don't normally go for, you know? This one is Blue Moon. This was one of the first ones they did, so it's one of the first ones I bought. As you can see, it's been well loved. Super, super beautiful. This is the Honey palette, also one of their earlier ones. I replaced the pressed glitter in this palette with this white shimmery shade, but it's not white. It has a yellow reflect. So I just thought it went really nicely in there. And I'm a lot more likely to use that one as an inner corner shade than I was to use the glitter. So it was just an easy replacement for me. I have also done a lot of rearranging with It's My Pleasure and Lilac You a Lot. I moved some things around because I felt like there were some shades from this one that belonged in this one and vice versa. But all of the ones in both of them came from one or the other, if that makes sense. So these are kind of ones that go together for me. So this is what my Lilac You a Lot ended up looking like. I kind of tried to go with the more warm toned purples and, you know, pinky shades. And then my It's My Pleasure is more of the cool tone purples and that kind of thing. So I just kind of felt like I liked them better arranged that way. And I love that about the Colourpop palettes. This was the first IP collab that I bought. I literally keep it in the box. This is the Sailor Moon collection. The palette is called Pretty Guardian. The color story is adorable. It's super pastel. It's not gonna give you a lot of depth in a look, but like I said, I 100% shamelessly bought this for the collab, and I'm not even sorry about it. I absolutely loved Sailor Moon when I was little. I have a Sailor Moon tattoo. This just spoke to me on a very sentimental level, so I have all of the pieces that I bought from the Sailor Moon collab, and absolutely regardless of how much I use them, I will hang on to them forever and ever and ever and ever. This is such an old one. This is the Dream Street collab with Kathleen Lights. I still love this one. I really do. I think this was such a unique color story and so innovative, and the formula is gorgeous, of course, and I love Kathleen, so I'm so glad I still have this. Next, we have the So Very Lovely palette, and it is just so very lovely. But I will admit that the lavender shade here called Macaroon really suckered me into buying the palette. It's just this really beautiful pale lavender. It's so pale you can barely see it. It's really gorgeous. It looks great on the eyes, okay? You just have to take my word for it. But I like the rest of the color story too. I feel like it's beautiful for spring, so enjoy this one a lot. Speaking of ones that are beautiful for spring, Sweet Talk. Oh my goodness. This is such a classic. I've also replaced some shades in here. I know I replaced this one and this one, but oh my goodness. It's the same idea. This was also a gold. I just didn't like it as much. So beautiful. This was, I think, the first time they put a Super Shock shadow in a palette. It was a game changer, to say the least. Side to Side got a lot of love from me and a lot of the beauty community for that reason. And even though it's dried out, obviously, because, I mean, it's a Super Shock in palette form. There's no way it's going to stay good. But it still works absolutely beautifully. So I still love this one. Still has a very special place in my heart. Oh, look. More IP that I bought without thinking twice. The Star Wars palette, I mean, of course I was going to buy it. They had already come out with the Baby Yoda and Mandalorian palettes, so when this one came out, I mean, look at the artwork. The artwork and the color story, too, I just think is so beautiful. And they introduced these marbled Super Shock shadows that I think are lovely. And I mean, I would own this just to look at it. Truly. Absolutely so glad I have this. If Star Wars isn't your thing, don't bother. I feel that way about all of the Colourpop IP collabs. If it's not really your thing, I don't care what the color story is, you seriously don't need it. They will come out with something with the same or similar color story in a matter of 6 months, so don't worry about it. But I am a collector, so I tend to pick up the IP collabs that are special to me, just for the sake of having them as part of my collection. This is the Limoncello palette. This was so good. I feel like I remember this was when Colourpop really came back. Like, they were releasing so many things over and over and over and over and over again. And then this one was the one where everybody started talking about them again. And for good reason. This was such a step up from even their normal quality, which is great. But this is like a step up from great. This was amazing. The pans are a little bit bigger. The mattes are a little bit creamier. The shimmers are a little bit more impactful. It has a mirror. The packaging feels heavy. It's just, this is a cut above the rest. Let me show you the shade that made me buy the palette. This is Capri. It's this absolutely amazing green, yellowy, golden, shimmery goodness. Look at that. I barely touched my hand just now. So beautiful. It's so impactful on the eyes. I really, really like this one. I don't know if this is still available, but if it is, the perfect summer palette. Love it. More IP that I bought because I love the thing they were collabing with. This is the Avatar: The Last Airbender palette. This is far from the only thing I bought from that collection. I have all of the eyeliners, the Appa little compact mirror, and a highlighter. I loved Avatar: The Last Airbender. I love Avatar: The Last Airbender still. It's a beautiful color story. I love that they have air, fire, earth, water, but that they all still work really well together. They're grounded in those primary colors, which makes it so easy to work with and create cohesive looks. I love it. And most of all, I love it because Avatar: The Last Airbender was my favorite show as a kid, and it's still one of my favorite shows I've ever seen. This is, I think, my newest Colourpop palette. I got this right before the new year. This is the Lust for Dusk palette. And I feel like it's one of their most unique color stories. I really do. It has these gorgeous muted tones. This muted purple, the blue, the pink, and it has the most interesting selection of metallics and some duochromes, like this one here. This is a duochrome, it's kind of hard to tell. And it's just, they so carefully selected these shades, you can tell, and the amount of looks you can make out of this is so interesting. I have so many eyeshadows in my collection that part of what I'm looking for when I'm gonna buy a new eyeshadow palette is something that makes me think and that makes me get creative. And this, I feel like, really is doing that for me. So I'm super glad I have this one. Really, really like this. If you're sort of deep into your eyeshadow game and you want something that will be creatively challenging, but in a really fun way. So I really, really love this. Of course, we're back with the collabs. This is the Harry Potter Back to Hogwarts palette. Of course, I had to have it. I love it. I like that it kind of has a warmer half and a cooler half. I feel like you could kind of divide it down the middle and have two cohesive palettes. Not that you can't mix between the sides, you absolutely can, but I also feel like if you divide it right here, it's equally cohesive on either side. It's gorgeous. And the names made me so happy. They don't all make perfect sense, but some of them are so fun, like Hungarian Horntail down here, Gillyweed, I love. Of course, love the Ravenclaw shade as a proud Ravenclaw myself. Love this palette. Again, it's not worth it if you don't love Harry Potter, but I do love Harry Potter and always will, so it was worth it for me. All right, we're getting there. This is one of my favorite Colourpop palettes. Actually, these three sitting on top, I think might be my three favorites because I'm boring. So, this is the That's Taupe palette. First of all, the snakeskin packaging, I am a sucker. And I just love these tones. I cannot get enough. This shade was a super shock, you know, when it was not dried out. But even now, it's just wet, shiny deliciousness. I love this one. This palette, if you are a cool tone lover, run, do not walk. Stunning. Another of my favorites, the Making Mauves palette. Again, cool tone lover's dream, but from a different perspective. This is the pinkier version of that. Again, had a shade that used to act a lot more like a Super Shock shadow. Doesn't really act like a Super Shock shadow anymore, but is still unbelievably gorgeous and shiny. Look at those two together, am I right? Amazing. Love this. And possibly my all-time favorite Colourpop palette. You can see it's been used and abused. This is the Going Coconuts palette. I love this palette a weird amount. I know. You're thinking, Maddie, all of these color stories that you've shown, these interesting, unique color stories, and this is your favorite. It's just such a reliable, staple palette. You have your blending out color crease shades in warm and cool, deepening shades in warm and cool, a dark shade that's neutral so it goes with both, inner corner shade, darker lid shade, lighter lid shade. It has everything you need. If you're a neutral lover and you want a good variety of looks and tones in a 9-pan palette, this is the best curation of shades that could have possibly been done. I will sing the praises of this palette forever and ever. And the formula is one of their best. One of their best, hands down. And this shade, Cocoa Crush, I could wear that shade on my lids forever. I'm holding my arm at the weirdest angle to really give you an idea. Just the shine. I mean, I know when you put it next to the two Super Shocks that are like glittery and insane, it doesn't look as impressive, but I promise you, look at that shine. Look at it. If you're getting one palette from Colourpop, if you're deciding on one palette, make this your one palette. I mean that. All right, next we have a couple more fun ones, sort of pastel ones. This one is Mint to Be. Very cute. Mint green color story. I don't really use these colors all that often, but like I said before, it's Colourpop, so the price allows you to get things that you don't necessarily use all that often. And also because they're magnetic and you can pop them out, I can pop them out and use them with other things. So it works. Another of the pastels, this is Baby Got Peach. I left this pressed glitter in because I think it is insanely beautiful. I love that one. That's like the one pressed glitter I'm willing to leave in. Hungry Ghost it's just really special. I don't know that swatching it is going to do it any justice, but I'm going to try anyway, even though it's going to have glitter all over everything I own for the next several days. I'm willing to take that chance. It's oh my goodness. It's got a peach flip and a yellow flip, but a clear base, and look, it's almost green from that angle. It's just so unique. I want to go for this glitter every time I use this palette, and I am not a pressed glitter person. That's how incredible that glitter is. Really, really love it. And I mean, all the other shades are gorgeous too. They make a beautiful look, but this is the star of the show for me. My hand's going to be covered in glitter for the rest of the video. It is what it is. This is Lil Ray of Sunshine, which is just so cute. I love the sunflower packaging. I pretty much got suckered into buying this because of the yellow, and it did not disappoint. This is an all matte palette, and it is so creamy and buttery. I feel like they amped up the matte formula for the all matte palettes because it really is different. And look how pigmented this is. Gorgeous. So beautiful. They all perform that way, but I feel like the yellow is the highest impact, and it's the thing that made me want the palette, and I'm glad that I did because it's beautiful. And last, but certainly not least, we have my two mega palettes. This one is Stone Cold Fox. I bought this one because I felt like I just didn't really have that many cool tones in my collection. This was right when cool tones were starting to get more popular, and I felt like this really just had everything I needed to dip my toes in a little bit more to cool tones. I have a very extensive eyeshadow palette collection, but I just didn't really have that many of these tones. So I picked this up, and I'm so glad I did. I feel like the formula is Colourpop's top-notch formula, the kind that they really crank out when they're trying to impress. And this absolutely did. I feel like the shade that makes this palette just blow your mind is this silver, the Magnetic Moon shade. It's it's really special. Absolutely gorgeous. This is fantastic. Colourpop's mega palettes are one of their better formulas, so this is great. And this, of course, was the first mega palette, So Jaded, which was the collab with Kathleen Lights. I love this color story. I feel like it's so interesting. There are a couple shades I've replaced in here as well. I think it was pretty much just the pressed glitters, though. These are stunning. Look how much I've used this one. This was the Super Shock Diamond. Absolutely gorgeous. I've gotten so much good use out of this palette. I love these jewel tones. This olive green color, the turquoise, the navy blue. You can do so much with this. And I feel so inspired still. I've had this palette for years. And every time I look at this, I still feel so inspired. So I know that it is just so worth having. I don't think you can get it anymore, so I'm sorry about that. But if you do have it, I pull this out and really just like play, because there's so much fun to be had with this palette. I absolutely love this one. So that is it. That's my entire drugstore and affordable eyeshadow palette collection. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got something out of it. If you did, leave a like down below. Leave me a comment letting me know what your favorite affordable eyeshadow formula is. I would love to hear your recommendations. If you want to see more from me, including the second part of this video, which will be my high-end and luxury eyeshadow palettes, I hope you will hit subscribe down below. I'd love to have you. And until the next video, bye guys.